Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call this Pinetop-Lakeside Town Council meeting to order. We do have a quorum. I'd ask that you make sure your cell phones are silenced. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Vice Mayor.
Our Father in heaven, we're indeed grateful for this opportunity to meet here in this town council meeting. We are grateful for this beautiful community in which we live and grateful for the freedoms we enjoy here in this nation. We pray and ask that Thou would bless those who serve in our armed forces and protect those freedoms that we enjoy and their families. Bless them. We're thankful for the dedicated employees that we have here at the town of Pinetop-Lakeside, and pray that Thou would bless them with health and strength. And we're thankful for this holiday season and grateful for this time when we celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ. We're again thankful for this opportunity to meet together. Pray that there will be cooperation and understanding as we meet and discuss issues this evening in this council meeting. And we're thankful for the moisture Thou hast sent to our lands, and pray that Thou would send us more, and ask these blessings in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Item B on our agenda tonight is call to the public. This is a business meeting of the Town Council. The town values and welcomes public input. Please address the council as a whole and not individual council members. Do not address staff or members of the audience. Council action on items brought up during the call to the public is limited by the open meeting law. The council may direct staff to study the matter and reschedule for further consideration at a later date. Items on the agenda will not be heard during call to the public, and individuals are limited to 3 minutes. Tonight we have several requests for call to the public. I'm going to start with Randy and Darla from Run to the Pines. You guys come on up, and you can speak as long as you need to tonight. That's okay.
Well, first off, we would like to thank the town of Pinetop-Lakeside for your support and continuing support of the Run to the Pines car show. All of our sponsors have been given a plaque, and we would like to present this to the town of Pinetop-Lakeside as well. This is this year's artwork with the thank you of the plaque. Thank you. Could we, do you want to come down and take a picture? Okay.
Tell us where we need to be. Right there. Good. Right there's good.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Randy's currently passing to the board members a map of where we park our cars at the Pinetop Lakes Golf and Country Club, plus the list of contributions we were able to do this year. As you can see, we help a lot of charities in our local communities. This year was a little down from last year, thanks to the rain we got on Friday and Saturday morning. Not saying bad about it, but it was something.
If any of you haven't been to the show, that's why we included the aerial shot. That was from a couple of years ago. Former mayor of Sholo, Rick Furneaux, actually did a flyover of the show and took that picture for us. It just gives an overall view of what the impact of how many vehicles do come in. For just a little bit of history, the Run to the Pines car show started in 1984. It was a small contribution event to the Fall Festival. The idea of the show was Bob Gates, He has since passed on, but we have been running the show, Bob and Linda Gates, Ted and I, for 42 years. Jim and Darla joined us in 2000. They were brave enough to walk up and say, "Hey, can we help?"
Brave or stupid, I wasn't quite sure yet.
They are now continuing board members along with Ted and I, and the four of us have continued Run to the Pines, along with Howie and Mary Ann Williams. Again, Howie has passed on. He was the shop teacher at Blue Ridge, but they were our traveling ambassadors. They went all over the Southwest promoting the show. Year one, we had a whopping 19 cars. With them going out and promoting the show, promoting our area, we are now at 575 cars from 10 states. We mail our registrations out May 1st, and we max out and are full by May 10th. And again, this was from 10 different states.
And we have a waiting list of usually about 50 people after we've maxed
To
out.
come in. We again want to thank the town for your continued support. It's the sponsors who allow us to put the show on. It's the sponsorship money that goes into all of the expenses of the show. And as the board members can see on the second page, once the show is done, as Darla said, all proceeds go to local charities. Every dime stays on the mountain. If it's a Humane Society, it's Humane Society of the White Mountains. It does not leave the mountain. This is our third location for the show, being at Pinetop Lakes. We started out at the Pinetop Financial Center, then went to Blue Ridge School, and now for the last 20 plus years, 30 years, we've been at Pinetop Lakes Golf and Country Club. And when we looked out at that field the first year, we went, man, if we could ever fill this, we'll have a show. Well, we do. We have brought a lot of people to the mountain that had never seen it before. Not that we're responsible for the traffic, but we are responsible for over 100 home sales to the people who came up to see the show and decided this was a place they needed to at least vacation, if not retire. Back about 25 years ago, then director of the chamber, Gil Dugasberg, he estimated that the impact of the Run to the Pines show for that one weekend was close to $7 million because of the new money coming in and the 7 times rollover. He said his estimate was huge impact to the community. And you figure we bring in the 575 plus several thousand visitors along with the participants. That's restaurants, gas, food, antique stores, etc.
Hotels.
The estimated attendance at the show is upwards of $12,000, and the spectators are free. It's a free to the public event. No, would you take over?
I'll take over. And whenever at all possible, local businesses and services do provide us sponsorship to cover our costs. We will go door to door knocking, asking for door prizes to give away to our participants as basically a thank you for coming to our show and supporting what we do. A lot of just to mention a few businesses, High Country Awards, High Five Design, Banana John's, Corner to Corner, many more have supported us. And like I said, all of the proceeds after our bills are paid goes to local charities. We hand the checks to the directors, to the managers, to whoever's in charge. We personally hand the checks to them and thank them for their support and thank them for whatever they, we tell them, use this for whatever you need to use it for. We're not going to earmark it for you. You know your expenses better than we do. This year, as you can see, we gave away to the Navajo County Advocacy Center, Clothe a Child, Backpack Snacks, Red Hawk Ranch, the Humane Society, Pet Allies, the library. We've given away to quite a few. As to date, we had to do some thinking. We've donated over $870,000 in the 42 years that we've had this show to local charities. That's a huge chunk of money. And along with a financial impact to our local businesses. All of the hotels are pretty much booked up. Usually the year before people leave, they've booked for the next year. So, and we also, in 2018, after Howie Williams had passed, we established a Howard Williams Memorial Scholarship Fund in honor of Howie Williams. He was a graduate of Blue Ridge High School, and after college he came back to be the auto shop teacher here at Blue Ridge High School for 31 years. He taught her son. He taught both of my sons. He taught him. I mean, it doesn't take a lot to look around and say how he touched many, many lives, and he still is. But what that scholarship is for students who would like to pursue a career in auto mechanics, teaching, things like that. We had our winner last year was somebody that wanted to go into racing, auto racing. He wanted to learn how to build the engines, etc. And the scholarship that he was awarded is going to help him do that. So, I can, for the audience, I'd like to kind of go through what we've done this year. For the scholarship fund, we were able to give $6,000. The Navajo County Advocacy Center, we gave $4,500. Sirens and Sleigh Bells, which encompasses both Show Low and Pinetop, $2,500. Clothe a Child was $1,500. Backpack Snacks was $7,000. And I do need to say that we have one of our volunteers he was in the school district down in Tucson. So he's very familiar with the food fear that children have in the schools. He welded us a bench last year. He gave us 2 benches this year. One was a Chevy, one was a Ford.
Old tailgate.
It was old tailgates, and they are beautiful park garden benches. They're absolutely wonderful. And from our auction, we got $3,200 for those benches. And when he specifically earmarked that $3,200 to go to Backpack Snacks, which is exactly what we did. On the Red Hawk Ranch, we were able to donate $3,286. The Navajo County Search and Rescue, we gave $2,000. The VFW Auxiliary, which that auxiliary helps all of our veterans here in the communities, we gave them $1,500. The library, we gave $1,500. Silver Creek Food Bank, which is a food bank that covers a vast area in the White Mountains, we were able to give $4,500. And during our auction, it was put out that if anybody would like to just give a donation, they didn't have to auction on anything, but if they felt it in their heart to give a donation, it would go to Backpack Snacks or to the food bank. Had one gentleman walk up to me. He gave me his credit card, and he said, I'm sorry. He said, this is going to go to Backpack Snacks. I want you to run $1,000. Just out of the blue. I said, well, thank you. And of course, I'm doing snot bubbles and crying, and he says, but don't go anywhere. I said, well, I'm sorry, I can't go anywhere. I'm stuck here. But his wife came up, gave me her credit card, and said, do exactly what my husband did. So people are generous. People, they just, out of the kindness of their hearts, they gave. To the Humane Society, we gave $1,000. And we have a family that comes up from Vail every year. They make the ice cream, and it's all donation. And people walk up, and if they want a cup of their homemade ice cream, whatever kids put pennies in the jar, that's what they get. They were able to raise $725.77 for the Humane Society. We gave $1,000 to Pet Allies. So we were able to give $1,500 to the future first responders. Bikers Against Bullies, they changed their name. Bikers Against Bullies, it's the guys you see walking around, they're tough guys in their leather jackets and stuff, but they are nothing but marshmallows. We gave them $1,000, and the Arizona Rangers, we were able to get $3,000. Like I said, it was a little down from last year, but we were still blessed that we were able to help people. And that is our goal, is to help where it's needed. And we've always told everybody that we donate to, we always keep a little bit back. So if an emergency comes up, or if there's something that they really need, they can come to us and ask us, and we'll discuss it amongst our board, and 9 times out of 10, the request is granted.
So we thank the town again for all of the support, both monetarily and greeting our visitors. We've had people from all over the Southwest and further say this is the friendliest town they've ever been to. They have never felt more welcome as a car show participant than at Pinetop-Lakeside. So kudos to the town. Thank you all for your support.
I guess speaking on behalf of the town, we can't thank you guys and your team. I know it's not just the two of you, but for your contributions to our community. This is amazing, and I see where the scholarship money goes to these kids. So thank you. We owe a huge debt of gratitude, and I hope that we can continue this wonderful relationship we have with you and have many, many, many more successful years.
We hope so too.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for all the time that you contribute to do that, too.
It's an hour or two.
Yeah, just.
Okay, we'll move on then, and Mike Moffenbeier would like to speak.
I got to follow that.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard one.
Thank you, Randy, for being a great chamber member as well. Mayor Irwin, Vice Mayor, members of the council, staff, friends and neighbors. My name is Mike Moffenbeier, and I'm the president of the Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber continues to work towards economic vitality for our community. We're working hard every single day to make sure our businesses have the resources they need and the support that they need to be successful. We have a really forward-thinking mentality. A lot of great ideas come out of our chamber, and I'm excited to be the person that's responsible for guiding the team to implement those things. We recently had our elections for our 2026 Chamber Board, and I'm excited to announce the people who will be on the board for 2026. The Chamber must have fallen down and hit in their head because they decided that I would remain the president for 2026. Stephanie Crane will be our treasurer for 2026. Karen Rubin will be our secretary for 2026. And our other board members will be Rob Hepner, David Seaman, Mariah Comer, and 2 new board members, Jennifer Butterbro and Chris Evans, who works for Western Technologies. So I'm excited to announce the new board for 2026. A lot of good forward-thinking people here. I'm going to have some new ideas blended in with an existing base. So super excited about it, and I want to thank all you guys for your support over the last year. It's always great to see you guys when you come to chamber meetings, board meetings, whatever task you happen to be assigned to. So we appreciate the support, and I look forward to a great year in 2026, and it's been a great 2025 for the chamber. So thank you all.
Thank you, Mike. We appreciate all your efforts. Sada Chudnov.
Good evening. Today I'm here as a parent of two children who go to Blue Ridge and quasi-member of the Parent-Teacher Student Organization. For the last 2 years, PTSO has been doing a giving tree at a very small level at the elementary. This year I recruited Annie DeRosier and she and I blew it up. We made it district-wide, and for the next week we have trees out around town. It's 3 modest gifts that teachers would love to have: a snack, a beverage, and their favorite school supply, because unfortunately teachers are asked to buy their own copy paper. So what we are asking is for everybody, if you have the capacity, to pick up one of those golded tags on the back tree here, or go into the depot, Psychological or Pinetop Coffee, and pick a tag up, fulfill that tag, and bring it back so we can distribute that to the teachers who make our community wonderful and keep that education going for our kids. And just as a side note, they're all saints. I did a week of outreach, STEM outreach at the K through 6 level, and I was exhausted, and I still had to take my own kids home. So I'm so appreciative of everything they do for us, and they deserve the best from our community. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing this to us. I hope everybody has a chance to grab one of those.
There's only 10 on this tree. So on Tuesday, we will be moving the rest of the cards to Pinetop Coffee for Coffee with Council, and we hope to get those fulfilled by the end of the week.
And we bring them back to Town Hall?
They can come Town Hall, the district office, or the elementary school.
And you don't necessarily need them wrapped or packaged any particular way? Or would
Only
be
if you
nice?
want to. I know it's, we literally have people bringing in reams of paper, so I'm not going to wrap 6 reams of paper or a 12-pack of soda. So if you bring it in, I brought in a bunch of holiday bags into the office, so we'll be just making things look a little bit nice and distributing. So thank you, guys.
Thank you. We appreciate that. James Beck.
Manager, council manager, and mayor. There's 2 sides to every story. According to legalclarity.org, quote, the mayor is responsible for ensuring that city ordinances and state laws are enforced. The mayor is responsible for managing the city's finances. The mayor's office assesses spending, quote, unquote. But when citizens examine town expenditure, they will find many that were poorly managed. Why didn't the mayor research past town managers Udall and Johnson's previous manager positions? If she did, she would have discovered their unsuitable job performances. It's not the responsibility of concerned citizens to protect the town, but if the mayor is not going to do it, we must. American orator Wendell Phillips warned citizens that power is ever stealing from the many of the few. If we look at the Arizona Procurement Code, Part B requires competitive sealed bidding. Multiple documents were found that violated this Arizona law by hiring the same contractor without any competitive bids. The town could have saved thousands using other suppliers, but by ignoring competitive sealed bidding, our tax dollars were squandered. And why did she allow her signatures to be printed on the town's blank checks? Then, why were town employees allowed to abuse their town credit cards by purchasing non-essential items? Here's a rhetorical question. Why did 2 of our past town councilors fight to abolish several citizen groups that were once welcomed and sanctioned by the town? Ask the mayor. She was one of the 2 who pushed for it. And why are taxpayers paying for staff lunches and breakfasts? Small change, you say? The late U.S. Senator Everett Dirksen once said, $1 billion here, $1 billion there, and pretty soon you're talking about real money. The free lunch list is long. And why in the world was $48,000 of the general fund converted into cash, where fraud and theft opens the door to misuse? A good mayor vows to maintain the highest standards of integrity in all aspects of governance. Their actions and decisions should be driven by honesty and accountability. It is more than simply projecting an efficient image in public. It's more than ego. It's ensuring that the public's trust in the office remains the foundation of their service. Our trust has been lost. It is time we demand nothing less than good governance. Madam Mayor, after a combined 25 years in Town Hall, perhaps it's time to move on.
Thank you. Kenny Kale?
Hi, Mayor Irwin, council members. I want to thank you for taking the hard road towards financial responsibility. You had to deal with many hurt feelings and divergent opinions. That shows strong leadership. We are now at a point of not having funds to provide for new services and must move forward focusing on efforts to maintain services. In my recent travels, I've seen that towns have successfully celebrated their history, tourism, and combined it with the gaming industry such as Deadwood. Along the way, I've seen that every town and campground had dog parks, but lacked the insight to make them functionally safer and effective. I saw towns that provide and profit from campgrounds. We've allowed our once successful campground to follow, mainly because of the National Park Service, or for the Forest Service, but they fall into follow like the town of McNary or the cabins in Holly Lake. Wise leadership understands that planning is essential in providing services. But this aspect of a project completion is not really financially burdensome. It is during this time between recovering from our dismal financial situation to the point where we can move forward towards a stronger community, we should look at planning. I feel planning should be directed by the verifiable wishes of our constituents. I refer back to the fairly recent survey and how you as a council have addressed these goals of your community members. You know, I've asked the council to initiate a committee for a dog park since August 1st, 2023. That's over 2 years. Just a plan. A plan, if sponsored by the town council, would have a very good chance of receiving financial support from the pet industry. A park that would be the next generation, like Queens Creek's Cosmo Park or Willow Creek Park in Prescott, which received $500,000 in grants. Having taken a university course on Robert's Rules of Order, I know the purpose of Robert's Rules of Order is to help organizations move towards successful and civilized discussions, to provide a standard, structured framework for holding meetings that are fair, democratic, and efficient. It ensures that the meetings are run smoothly by giving the majority the power to make decisions while still allowing the minority's opinions to be heard and debated thoroughly before a vote is taken. Is a committee for a dog park a minority opinion? It is ranked highly as a desire from your constituents. How can you discuss this simple idea of forming a committee so that your constituents can see that you're listening to them? Step 1, under item C, under consent agenda, a town council member moves to add consideration of the dog park committee under new business. A second would be needed. If passed, no action will be taken since this is under new business.
Thank you, Ken. We appreciate your passion. I believe that's the last request for call to the public. Larry, do you have a slip?
I do, but I didn't turn it in.
Okay, that's fine.
You honored it, Christie.
Thank you.
I appear before you tonight as the chairman, newly appointed chairman of the Community Center / Senior Center. Last Wednesday before Thanksgiving, we served approximately 150 free turkey meals. We packed the place, and that included carryouts and so forth. 2 members of Chamber are on our board now. Harry's one of them. And so in any case, we're here to let people know that we do accept donations. Necessary funding through your budget has defunded many of the not-for-profits, so we're struggling. grants are saving us right now. We just received a grant to replace the flooring, much needed in the building. So in any case, just wanted to give you an update that we're out there working with people that in some cases don't know where their next meal is coming from. We're a gathering place. I became familiar with the senior center playing cards with some friends there every Wednesday afternoon. Last Wednesday, Todd came over and sat at our table and was discussing cars and trucks. And so it's good to see. I always try to make it when council serves. Nothing better than Sterling serving me food. So they do, you do a good service. We appreciate you coming. So meatloaf and liver, right?
That's right.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. We appreciate your efforts. Anybody else? All right, we're going to move on then to item C, which is our consent agenda. All items listed are considered routine matters and will be enacted by one motion of the council. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of council requests that an item or items be removed for discussion. Council members may ask questions without removal of the item from the consent agenda, and items removed are considered in their normal sequence unless called out of sequence. We only have one item on our consent agenda. Are there any questions from the council? I'd entertain a motion. Vice Mayor?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
I second.
Thank you. We have a motion, a second. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you. That carries unanimously. Item D is business before the council. Public comment will be taken at the beginning of each agenda item after the subject has been announced by the mayor and explained by staff. Any citizen who wishes may speak one time for 5 minutes on each agenda item, either before or after council discussion. Questions from council members, however, may be directed to staff or a member of the public through the mayor at any time. Item D1 is a presentation of the Four Seasons Connection and White Mountains Connection public transit system. We welcome City of Show Low Grant and Transit Manager Lisa Robertson. Thanks for coming, Lisa.
Hi, thank you for having me. Good evening, Mayor, council members. So my name is Lisa Robertson. I am the Grants and Transit Manager for the City of Show Low. And Councilman Smith invited me to do a presentation on our Four Seasons and White Mountain Connection public transit services. So I'm happy to be here and answer any questions you might have. And I'm not very good at this, so bear with me. So I did a PowerPoint presentation to kind of answer, I think, most of the council's questions on our service. But I wanted to start out as a review on our first slide here. So in 1997, ADOT approved Show Low's application for public transit for the Pinetop-Lakeside and Show Low area. Pinetop signed an IGA with Show Low in 1997 to share 50% of the operating costs for the service. The buses, the Four Season Connection buses, run 6 days a week, stopping at 17 locations in Pinetop-Lakeside. In 2009, the White Mountain Connection established service to Taylor, Snowflake, Holbrook, and Northland Pioneer College. The service is a cooperative and financial partnership with these communities and also includes Show Low, Pinetop-Lakeside, and Greyhound bus lines. The White Mountain Connection provides round-trip service to Holbrook 3 times daily. And then through a competitive bid process, MV Transportation has been contracted by the city since 1997 to provide the daily operations of both services. So that's just a little bit of history there. Our next slide, I can't see it, so I have to refer to my notes here. Just a moment. So this slide outlines who our transit partners are, Town of Pinetop-Lakeside and the City of Show Low for the Four Seasons. You'll notice that Honda Casino is on here. We have an IGA with all of these transit partners with the exception of Honda, and they are billed by the city monthly. So the next slide is the annual ridership that the Four Seasons Connection had through the federal fiscal year, which is October through September. And as you can see, the 47% of the total ridership for the year was allocated to Pinetop, and then it breaks it down to the Honda and then Show Low as well. So for total ridership for the Four Seasons Connection, we're looking at almost 78,000 per year. And I do, excuse me, and I do want to mention, we have had a tough time coming back from COVID, I'll be honest with you. Prior to COVID, we had almost 200,000 boardings a year between Four Seasons and the White Mountain Connection. But we are coming back, and the Area Agency on Aging and some of our social service agencies in here in the White Mountains have been helping us get those numbers up where they previously were. The annual ridership for the White Mountain Connection, is there. And you can see it's quite a bit less than what we experienced on the Four Seasons Connection. But between the White Mountain Connection and Four Seasons Connection, we're doing almost 93,000 bookings per year. So this next slide is a 5-year from October 20 to 2025 to kind of give you a broader view of how many boardings that we've had over the last 5 years. So we're pushing 500,000. Again, that's still lower than we were before COVID, but we are coming back. So this next slide is the use by our senior bus pass program that is financed by the Area Agency on Aging. It is 100% paid by the AAA, but what this is a free senior bus passes to anyone over 60. That's the only qualifier to be eligible for the free senior bus passes. So you can see that the usage has dramatically increased over the last 3 to 4 years. So Area Agency has indicated they hope to support this program for several years. So it's been very successful, and I hope that the money there through Area Agency is going to be, supporting this program for the future. Our next slide is, so getting into finances. The Arizona Department of Transportation is the state agency that funds a good large portion of the expenses for this program. So as you can see on this slide, the 80-20 is, excuse me, 80% is financed by ADOT, 20% is our local match, which is then divided among all of our financial partners. Operations is less. ADOT finances 58%, and 42% is picked up by our local share. Vehicle maintenance, same, and then the bus fare is split as well. So that's kind of the formula that we use, that ADOT uses to reimburse the city and our partners, and then from there we divvy that up amongst our financial partners. So this next slide is getting down to the nitty-gritty here. You can see that, and this is estimated because I don't have yet the ADOT contract that has the final numbers for 2026, but I think we're pretty close on these numbers here. So you can see that administration, and these are annual, administration is around $77,000. Your operations before the fare is deducted, and before any Greyhound in-kind is deducted, and then the vehicle maintenance of about $75,000. And we do use every dollar of that vehicle maintenance because our buses are old. So we're pushing $1 million for 2026. So our annual revenue is estimated again. If you combine all of the federal share, excuse me, for administration, operations, and vehicle maintenance, I'm so sorry. The total is going to be just almost $570,000, and that's after the fair is taken. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm not usually talk this much. So you can see the other revenue sources that we have throughout the year. So yeah, our revenue is about $611,000 projected for 2026. So on this slide, we have the Pinetop-Lakeside's share of annual cost. And again, this is your percentage of the 20 and 42% of what the cost share is. So
I think it's the next slide, is it? Nope.
oh, sorry. Yeah, I can't really see it from here. Yeah, sorry, thanks. So this is kind of an estimate for 2026 on what Pinetop-Lakeside's share is going to be. And I think it's pretty close. Like I said, I don't have the ADOT contract yet to have final figures, but this is based on actual cost for this past year. And I did look at last year being ending September 30th. And Pinetop-Lakeside's share of cost is about $120,000. So it's not too much more. It's about 4% increase going into 2026. So the last thing I wanted to bring up was we have received an ADOT grant for some new buses that we desperately need. And let me see here. This slide here, with that grant, the ADOT will pay about 85% of the total cost of the buses, and then our local cost share is going to be 15%. And this slide gives you the cost of what those new buses, for 3 buses, is what the cost of that's going to be. I do want to make a note, though, for the 2 units for the Four Seasons connection, the amount listed under the local number, that $99,000, we were able to negotiate ADOT to pay for the cost increases for those 2 buses, which is about $40,000. So that local share is going to be closer to $56,000, which will be split. excuse me, which will be split with Sholo and Pinetop-Lakeside. We're purchasing 1 unit for the White Mountain connection, and again, you can see the cost share on that is about $24,000. So the total local share that's going to be split between all of our partners, both White Mountain and Four Seasons, is going to be almost $124,000 for 3 buses. And honestly, I didn't touch anything. Okay.
I think Annie's getting it back up for you.
I can go through it again. Make sure I don't go past it, because like I said, I can't. Okay. This is the last slide. So for Pinetop-Lakeside's share of the buses, you can see that the 15% share for 2 is now going from $49,600 to $28,000. That is going to be split with Sholo. And the 15% share for 1 of the White Mountain Connection buses is $2,700. So When we get around to purchasing these buses, we hope to place the order probably in January. We're looking at Pinetop cost at about $31,000 for those 3 buses. So they're not cheap. But the buses that we have on the road right now are quite old, and it's important that we have buses that are new and are in good condition. And some of these older buses have gotten to the point where they are just unsafe to be on the road. And so it is an expense to the partners in our transit program, but it is a necessary expense. So that is pretty much it. I'm available for questions.
On the new buses that you're ordering in January, what's the time frame for paying for those buses? You don't have that in our current year budget, I don't.
Okay, so the city of Show Low will write the check for all 3 of those buses, and then we can bill out if we need to go into next year. I have double checked with our finance department, and they are okay with us carrying that until the new budget year, because we weren't sure whether that got communicated for your budget year.
I don't think it was.
It probably wasn't, but yes, we can carry that because we have to write the check up front before we can place the order. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We have to do that anyway.
Any questions for Lisa? Tabor. Councilor Hesser, sorry.
I just had a question about how do you know where the riders come from? Is it by the bus stop? Is it by address? Is it?
Yeah, it's by the bus stop. Our drivers, whenever they stop at any of those shelters, they will record the number of people who get on the bus. And so we keep very detailed numbers and records of each of those stops. And I think we have 25 stops in Show Low, 17 at the moment in Pinetop-Lakeside. So we capture all that raw data.
So based on what you said, then we're 116 people a day on average ride the bus from Pinetop? I mean, I just did some quick math on the numbers.
Yeah, I couldn't answer that for sure. But if you're doing some quick math, you're probably right.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions?
So, go ahead.
I was just going to say, just so people understand, where can people over 60 pick up these tickets to ride?
So, good question. The senior bus pass program, the only places that those are offered are at the library here in Pinetop-Lakeside and the library in Show Low.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're always talking about the benefits to the town. I think the bus service benefits Pinetop-Lakeside more than Show Low. If you look at the numbers, they've got a population of 12,000. We've got a population of 4,000 plus a little bit. And yet we get more riders. I don't know if that's good or bad about our population, but we have more people riding the bus from Pinetop than Show Low. And I think that's a testament to the validity of the service that the buses provide to the town of Pinetop-Lakeside.
Yeah. Well, and it's important, too, that people who live in Pinetop-Lakeside do have the ability to get to the county courthouse in Holbrook. And that is a lot of our ridership for the White Mountain Connection as well. So there is a way for people to actually get those county services that we don't offer here in Show Low and Pinetop-Lakeside. So there's many benefits to retaining this program. We've had it for almost 30 years, so people depend on it. So.
And we'd like to thank you for all the time and effort you spend making sure the wheels are rolling.
Well, thank you. I'm a better writer than I am a speaker, so thanks for putting up with that. But
thanks for coming tonight, Lisa, and we appreciate the partnership with Show Low.
Yeah, thank you. It's been long overdue. I should have been here much sooner, but thank you for the invite. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks.
We'll move on then to item D2, which is a presentation of snow removal operations and financial update on the police department project and the Top of the Woods project. Interim Public Works Director Melina Spillman.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. My pleasure to be here this evening. Just before I start really quick, I was asked to do these just to make sure that we were addressing any of the concerns with some of our staff changes and stuff that the public has. There were two small errors in the presentation that I did not catch when I submitted those to Christy, so my apologies, and I'll point those out as we go through the presentation. So we'll start with the snow removal operations. We were fortunate enough yesterday to get a little moisture. Several of our staff were pretty disappointed that we didn't actually get out and plow. I will say that's myself included. It's actually very, I don't want to use the word fun, because it can be quite tense, an adrenaline rush, but we certainly do love to be able to get out there to make our roads safe for our public. So moving on to some of the information that was requested by council was just what is our snowplow routes, how do we operate those, how many employees do we have, the duties of driving a snowplow, and what are the primary snowplow plans, staffing trucks, routes, shifts, etc. And then also what our contingency snowplow plan is for if trucks break, if staff is sick, staff are on vacation, all of those kind of things. And then certainly addressing any other questions that you guys might have. We start beginning preparations for our snowplow operations, and we go through approximately a week-long winter readiness program. We review videos, training plans. We go over our snowplow routes, and I'll get to some of the routes here in just a moment. We have each individual route that is specifically designed for efficiency and keeping our snowplow drivers in one area to be able to maximize our efficiency. Each route takes approximately 4 hours to do our complete route. An hour for our primary streets that are on that. Those are the higher ADT, which is our average daily traffic, most traveled roads. Of course, I say that, and 1 hour to get our primary roads open, and then 4 hours to get our primary and our secondary. That's only 2 passes. So that's going down one way and then coming back and getting that done. Of course, we have to take into consideration that's not always going to be the case. That does not get us all of our width, which we widen the roads mailbox to mailbox to make sure that it's safe, that mail delivery can happen, of course, emergency services, all of those things. We go through every single route with each driver that is assigned to that route, and they go turn by turn, checking any hazards. We have identified where we need to cinder those areas, where there might be a manhole that sticks up that we need to avoid so that our plow doesn't catch it and break the manhole or break the truck. We go through all of that. So we go through quite a strenuous week of going through just snowplow stuff. And that also entails going through each of our trucks. 2 staff members are assigned to each route. So they're also assigned to that specific truck that is assigned to that route. It's their responsibility to go through that truck to make sure that everything is operational and that our plows are on, our cinder spreaders are mounted, and everything is working as it should be. So we prioritize making sure that everything is safe during our operations. So moving on to our snowplow routes. We have 5 road routes, a total of 6 routes. If you look on there at the bottom, we have our white route. That includes our facilities and our trails, parking lots, those kind of things. There's a separate staff that is assigned to that, but we have an orange route, a red route, a blue route, and a green route. Again, each of those are very specific, and here is our map that if you guys notice, there's one change on the presentation that you're seeing tonight than what was in your packets. There's one road that we no longer maintain, is no longer in our maintenance, that was on our greater route, which our greater route is only for if we get 8 inches or more of snow, and that's our dirt roads. It's very hard to plow our dirt roads with anything other than the grader because it will cause more damage than it does good. So there's one road on that map that is slightly different, and just to point that out, it is Rim Road, the dirt section of Rim Road. That is no longer on the town's maintenance. But you can certainly see here, each color is represented on this map, and the roads that are highlighted in red, those are our priority routes. So those are our bus routes, and the roads that have the most average daily traffic on those. Those are considered our priority routes. Those are our main focus of getting cleared as quickly as possible and as safely as possible to make sure that we aren't delaying our school and emergency services any further. Moving on to the next slide. How many employees also have the duties of driving a snow plow in Public Works? Every single one of them, with the exception of 2. We have one staff member, Catherine Nunn, who is our engineering technician. She works remotely for us now. Even when she was here working in Pinetop-Lakeside, her job duties did not require a CDL. We do require a CDL to plow our roads, Class B CDL. And the other position is Lisa Mears, our Public Works Secretary. She's not required to have a CDL in snowplow. However, she has offered to run a shovel whenever she's needed. So currently, previous year, we had 28 full-time employees and 1 part-time employee. And all of those, with the exception of the 2, so 26 full-time employees had snowplow duties and required a CDL. We currently have 20 full-time employees with 1 part-time employee. That number is going to be changing. I just received a notice from one of our Public Works staff that has taken a job opportunity in another community and will be moving off the mountain. And we're very sad to see him go. So that number will drop down to 19 full-time employees, and taking out Lisa and Catherine, that leaves us 17 full-time employees. 1 part-time employee that we do have is also has a CDL, Class A CDL. He worked for us full-time previously, and he is willing to come back and snowplow for us during the day if that's necessary. He works the weekends at the collection center, and that's David Leba. So again, all the Public Works employees are required to maintain a Class B CDL. Most of us have a Class A CDL, which is a little bit higher of a rating, and the rating for the CDLs is based on the weight of the vehicle. Moving on, this is kind of just an organizational chart that we currently have. As you can see, that there is the street supervisor vacancy. That is something that we're interviewing for the week after next. We have an internal applicant that has applied, and we have not discussed whether or not we'll be filling another streets position. I don't believe this year we will be. I think that will be something that we'll address in the next fiscal year to see if budget allows for that. And then if you compare what we had last year to this year, we've lost quite a few positions, but that has not impacted our snowplow operations. We still have plenty of employees to be able to conduct our snowplow operations. Leading into that, again, I mentioned earlier that we have the 5 routes for the roads, and we operate in 12-hour shifts, midnight to noon and noon to midnight. Each route has a specific person, so that's 2 employees to do our roads in town. That's 10 employees that we require to minimally to be able to staff. And then we also have the white route to be able to have our facilities taken care of. 3 employees have earned their CDL this past year. We do all of our CDL training in-house. Previously, it was Director Patterson before he left, and myself assisting. And then we also have myself and Marcus Ramos, Public Works, have recently been given our certificates for training CDL. So we were able to do that in-house. So 3 of ours have gotten their CDLs, and they're required to do 24 hours in the seat driving with an experienced snowplow operator to be able, before they can go out on their own. So those three will be working with several of us to get their sign off to be able to do it themselves. Additionally, we have 2 employees who are working on completing their CDL, and we just got great news today about our belly dumped Kenworth truck. The engine is in, it is running. They're hoping to have that on the road on Monday doing the break-in. So we'll be sending our 2 employees here in the next couple weeks to get their CDL testing completed, and then they'll be able to complete their in-the-seat training as well. The primary snowplow plan is each season the department reviews and updates the snowplow staffing assignments to ensure that we have safe operations, and assignments are evaluated on the current staffing levels as well as how much experience they have, skill sets, the equipment availability, as well as operational needs for the upcoming snow season. Each year we do a sheet similar to this, and we kind of scaled down a little bit for the presentation, but on the left-hand side you'll see that was our 24-25 snowplow assignments. The list down at the bottom is a little bit bigger. We don't have quite as many backup drivers and quite as many employees on the white route, but we still have plenty of employees to staff a full snowplow shift with additional backup drivers. Chief Barnes expressed some potential interest in getting his CDL, so we may explore that option a little bit more, but Chief Barnes and the police department have always been very helpful. We leave a piece of equipment over at the police department, and if needed, throughout the night or any time during the day, if there's additional help required, they're more than willing to hop into that Bobcat skid steer that we have over at the police department and help out. So as you can see, we have them broken up into midnight to noon shift and noon to midnight shift, and each employee is assigned to their route. The routes, again, going over those routes, we have the orange, red, blue, green, gray, and I apologize, I listed green there twice. The white route for the facilities and trails. We do have an intersection in cul-de-sacs. If we get a huge storm, we tend to get some accumulation in the intersections, especially off of Highway 260. ADOT doesn't lift their plows when they're going by. That's not a concern that they have. So we do have a little bit of extra that we need to pick up. And so we have equipment that can go out there and do that. And we have a staff member that we can take off the white route to put on those intersections and cul-de-sacs to help out when needed. And again, each route is designed to one pass in each direction be completed in 4 hours. Of course, again, I want to reiterate that doesn't mean that we can clear the whole town and we're done plowing in 4 hours. That's just a pass so that we can get the roads open so that people can travel. A list of our equipment. One of the things that was asked was what happens when we have equipment breakdown, a truck breakdown. As you can see here, we have several trucks. We have them all assigned to individual routes. We have one of our 10-wheeler dump trucks that's an older Mack, but she is, and Frank can attest to this, he drives that route and has for a number of years. She's old, but she's reliable, and so we have her as a backup. And additionally, we have a gray dump truck that's a smaller dump truck, but we have the gray route on here for a reason, is because the gray dump truck used to plow the gray route. So we now use that more for facilities and cleaning our parking lots and stuff, but that's another truck that we can use for backup. Our equipment, you can see our equipment list is pretty extensive. The motor grader is only used on the dirt roads, or if needed, just an extra piece of equipment if something breaks down. Our cat loader, our Gannon, and our backhoe all have specialty plows that are specific for, that can be attached to the equipment for snow removal. So if anything breaks down, we have plenty of options to get out there and still continue our operations. And then what is our contingency snow plan for if somebody gets sick? We already addressed the issue if a truck breaks down or a piece of equipment. Again, I said we have 7 trucks, 7 pieces of equipment that can be used for snowplow operations. Each shift only uses 5 trucks. And then with our white route, those are only pieces of equipment like our skid steers that we typically use and our Gannon. So we have plenty of equipment. As far as staff, we just pull from our backup driver list, and we tend to rotate. We were discussing this week, we have several staff that are going to be out the week after Christmas for New Year's that we have to shift a few people around. So we make sure that we get plenty of training and plenty of staff that has that expertise and that knowledge. That is pretty much all I have for you guys. That was a long and probably a lot of information, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys might have.
Thanks for putting that together, Melina.
Yeah, you're welcome. My pleasure.
Great plan. I think that maybe is a little bit reassuring to everybody that
yes.
we make it happen.
Yep.
Are there any questions for Melina at this point? Councilor Heisler, did you?
I just want to say, great presentation. I think there was a little bit of concern, right, that maybe we weren't going to be able to do what we needed to do, and I think this provides a very excellent presentation and a lot of confidence that we can continue to deliver these critical services to our residents. So I appreciate you taking the time. I know it was a lot, but I think it was very good.
I just have to say, too, that I have to give kudos to Lisa Mears, our Public Works Secretary. She helped me put this together. We all wear so many hats, and we had a lot to do, but she helped me tremendously to put this together, so couldn't do it without her.
Yeah.
And the rest of our Public Works staff.
Good job keeping all the moving parts,
We're trying.
There's a lot of moving parts in this plan,
yes.
So
yes.
Good job, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, like Tabor said, gives us a lot of confidence that we're in good hands here.
Yes.
Anyway, you can go on to your next.
Okay, the next one. I've got some notes too, so let me get that opened here. So another item that I was asked to put together was some information about, and I don't have a slide presentation, there's a memo in your packets. I was asked on Top of the Woods Drainage Project and the Police Department Remodel Project to kind of give an update on what their original budget for the project was, how much has been spent to date on the project, what the target date for completing the project, and how much more money will be required to complete the project, and really a percentage of where we stand. There's a lot of information to go through. Both of these projects, I'll start with Top of the Woods. Top of the Woods, as most of you guys know, began with a flood event that in 2019, August of 2019, it ended up being classified as a 1,000-year event. It was a lot of problems that we had with the subdivision. When the subdivision was adopted and brought into the town, approved by the town, the drainage was not built to plan. And that was made evident in the flood that we had. Now, keep in mind, most subdivisions and drainages are only built to withstand a 100-year event. And when we talk about the classifications of events with 1,000 years or 100 years, it's the probability that that's going to happen once in 100 years. So this ended up being a 1,000-year event. If anybody was here during that time, you remember that was just a crazy, crazy day. So with that, it caused substantial damage to the existing drainage system, and we were made aware of a lot of shortfalls. And the cleanup efforts, I did not go back to see exactly how much those cleanup efforts had cost the town. We did get, we declared a state of emergency, and because of declaring a state of emergency, we were able to get some funding from the state through DEMA. And we got about $200,000 just to help with the cleanup efforts. And that was over a year that we worked on cleaning out the ditches, cleaning up the roads, just getting all of that dirt out of there. If you guys saw all the dirt piles over at Mountain Meadows for the last few years, that's all a result of at the Top of the Woods and then down into across from the meadow there off of Woodland Lake Road and off of O'Malley. the original cost estimate that I could find was a little over $1.9 million, and that was the engineer's estimation of cost. So that would have been what a contractor would have, we would have had to pay a contractor estimating to complete the project. I was asked about what the original budget that was presented to council was for the project, and I have not been able to find that. That's something that I've spoken with Christy in quite detail, as well as Councilmember Heisler. I'm still looking for that to see if we had anything to say what Public Works can do this project for, and this is going to save the town of Pinetop-Lakeside this amount of money. I've not been able to find those numbers. I will say that I believe we've saved some money, but I can't tell you what that amount is. We received $140,000 from Navajo County Flood District to help with some of those costs as well. To date, the recorded expenditures in the Public Works system that we use is called ShareNet, Novo Solutions. So you'll hear us refer to it as Novo or ShareNet. Those go hand in hand. But to date, that total, not including the recent pavement purchase that we did and the trucking, the asphalt and the trucking, it was $442,088.54. And the additional invoices, I put in your memo the approximate of $190,919.70. That was what was approved by council. I just got those invoices, and we came in under budget, which is, hey, yay, we don't have to bring that one back to council, right? So with the asphalt was $162,600.54. The trucking was $22,460.24 for a total of $185,060.78. So that was great news that we came in a little under budget on that one. The project we're estimating about 90% complete. We still have, I think I talked about in my presentation last time, a few things. I have a great update again today from our street staff that have been working to try to find the water valves on Pine Village that our handheld crashed, and we couldn't find the GPS points anymore. The GPS points were lost. They found the water valves today, so and the clean out. So we are done with that part of locating them. They're going to work with Arizona Water to get those raised, and then once the asphalt plants open back up, they're closed for the season because it's too cold. They'll patch that. In the meantime, they're going to pack it with AB and bring that up to grade, and then match pavement with AB for the meantime. We have the two staff members that are on that route for plowing are on the streets crew, so they know exactly where it is, so they can avoid that area to make sure that we're not creating any more potholes. I am hoping that we will have everything done with widening the shoulders, making sure that the fence is almost complete around the drainage canal down at the bottom of Pine Spruce that connects over to Pine Village. We have a little bit of more work to do on the retention pond. I anticipate, depending on the weather, if we have a good winter, which we're going to knock on wood that we have a good wet winter, I anticipate that'll be done by March of this next year, so March 2026. Again, I am going to continue to look for as much information as I can find to make sure that we're answering the questions that we can as appropriately as we can with the most accurate information. And I'll kind of get into that a little bit when I finish the police department. The police department is much of the same. That has really come full circle for where we were at with the old building, and anybody who ever went there knew how much we needed a new police department, or at least something to be done. There was some mold in there, there was a leaky roof, it was cramped, we were running out of space, all the things. It just was a lot. We toyed with numerous ideas for the building, and ultimately we hired an architect. Her contract, or the contract with Barton Architecture was $165,000. That was brought to council. And to date, we have not spent all of that $165,000. As soon as the project is done, we will finish out that contract. That has not gone over budget. We owe $3,400 still to Barton Architecture. Once the project is complete, then we'll finish that. The contract included the project management, managing the change orders and submittals and any plan changes that we had. For the funding and budget history, we talked about the $165,000. We had in March 2021, we had revenue bonds approved in the amount of $3.1 million for the PD construction. The Sierra Building Systems, we did a competitive bid for the PD construction, the vertical construction. So that was just the building. The construction of the new building, which is approximately 6,000 square feet, and then the remodel of the existing building, which was, again, approximately 6,000 square feet. The lowest bid was awarded to Sierra Building Systems. We had 2 contractors bid on it, and Sierra Building Systems contract was $4,499,000. That included a $50,000 contingency for any change orders. I kind of pointed out the budgeted items in the funding by fiscal year in the memo. And I spoke with Christy about this. I don't want there to be any confusion that if you look at it, we had over $10 million budgeted for the project. If you look at, you can see that in the PD building reserve, there was $1.4 million a couple years in a row. Those were just, we didn't spend it that year, so it went on to the next year. So if I did my math correctly, and including what was budgeted for the fiscal year that we're currently in, 25-26, we had $5,950 and $950,712 is what was originally budgeted. Do not quote me on that math because I want to work with Sarah and Gabe and James Vincent Group to really comb through those financials to make sure that my math is accurate. I'm not going to stake a claim that my math is completely accurate. Those are just some quick numbers that I threw together. Again, it is another one of those projects that while we did bring this year building systems contract to council, the Public Works Department did all of the civil work, and I believe I could confidently say that we saved money. Can't tell you how much money that is. We don't have a cost estimate on everything that Public Works did. I was able to find one cost estimate that I believe former Director Patterson had put together. However, it was basically only for drainage, some curb and gutter, a few things. It did not include all of the utilities that we extended. If anybody came down by the post office in Lakeside and saw, we were there, we anticipated being there for about a week to extend that sewer line. We were there for like 2 months, 3 months, something like that, because it was solid rock and we had to hammer through rock. So based on that, I think that we did save some money. However, I can't tell you how much money. Again, I am looking back through all of Director Patterson's old information, his emails, his files, all the files that I have, and I have not been able to find a hard number that I can come to you and say, this is what was estimated for the civil work, and this is how much it costs Public Works, so we saved X amount of dollars by doing that. The project is 97% complete, and we, to date, have completed almost everything except for the cell doors. We are just waiting for those to come from the manufacturer, and those are currently in production. All the submittals have been completed, and then a few small items. There's some doors that need to be repainted and a couple floor tiles that need to be fixed. I really want to reiterate, I think I've said this numerous times in the last month and a half that I've been here in front of you is moving forward, as long as I'm in the role as Public Works Director, interim Public Works Director, I want to work on creating some more plans to really have capital improvement projects that we're planning into the future so that I can bring those to council, that we have a hard and fast number of this is what's going to cost. This is how much we estimate the contractor's cost. This is what Public Works could do it for. We can save a lot of money, or it's not going to be advantageous for us. One of the things that I talked about was Mountain Meadows is a perfect example. If we don't have a master plan for Mountain Meadows yet, I would really like to develop a master plan with the community involvement to come up with what we really want to see at Mountain Meadows, what we want that finished product to look like, and then work towards setting aside that funding so that we can have those answers for the community. You know, potentially a dog park. I don't know. I mean, an inclusive playground, a community center. I don't know what that looks like, but I would like to work with council, with our staff here, and the community to come up with those plans so that we can really come up with a good, comprehensive capital improvement plan for parks, for streets, for facilities, so that we can budget that appropriately, and that we know what we have to do in the coming years, so that we're not moving around and getting having a little too much on our plates. Public Works has been able to accomplish a lot of amazing things. I'm very proud of the team that we have, but we're gonna make some changes. And sometimes changes are hard, but sometimes they're good. So I would like to ask the council to, at a later date, maybe in February when we have a new town manager or a permanent town manager, I would like to come back and hopefully have some more hard answers, hard facts for you guys.
Thank you, Milena. Any
That's it.
questions at this point for Milena? I appreciate all your work. I know how much you put into it.
Absolutely.
Vice Mayor?
Yes, thank you, Milena. Do we know how much have we paid the contractor, Sierra Building?
You know, give me just 1 second and I can pull up my spreadsheet here real quick. I had that conversation earlier. I thought I had my spreadsheet up. I apologize. I don't have.
I think I wrote those numbers.
Did you write it down? I have
They're in
my
my
spreadsheet.
office.
I just need to open it up. If you give me just 1 second,
Take your time,
I can
Milena.
get that open. I know that we do have about a $61,000, a little over $61,000 left in retention, and that's being left over for the doors, for the cell doors. So let me just sign into my OneDrive real quick, and I will pull up those numbers for you. My iPad signed me out, so I have to sign back in. So what we have paid Sierra Building Systems to date is $4,592,158.78. Question was brought up to me today. What did council approve? I told you guys earlier, $4,499,000. That means that we have gone over on that. I did look back at the resolution that was approved by council. There was not in the motion in the resolution, there was not a not to exceed amount. So in efforts of transparency that we've been continuing to do, my plan is to bring that back in January, just for council's approval. I don't know, we have not had that conversation with Bill Sims yet, whether or not that's required, but I think it's important to just continue our efforts to make sure that we've done things correctly.
Lane, I believe just because it's over $50,000, we'll have to bring it back to council.
That makes absolute sense.
And that was because of change orders?
It was because of change orders. There were some pretty significant change orders, some things that were not caught in the architecture's design because we had an existing building that we were remodeling. So there were some significant changes with the roofing structure and what we had to do there. Additionally, there was a moderately significant change in the records storage room. Originally, that was one large room, and through the process, there was requested to be 2 offices, cut that records storage down, and add 2 offices to the back of that. So those all have come into play.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments, Councilor Heisler?
I just wanted to say, we'll start off with this. I mean, I requested some of this. We've had some really good conversations. I think this is really good transparency for the public, and it's not a gotcha. And I hope you know that you're doing a great job in fulfilling the requests and in the position. And I think this is the right step, a step in the right direction to make sure that when we talk about what we're saving, that we quantify that and we make sure that we have a plan in place, a budget in place, so that we know that if the, in the first project, it was $1.9 million estimate from the architect. And if we would have said that the Public Works Department can do it for $900,000, and then we have a hard and fast number where we can hold people accountable and make sure that we're actually meeting those numbers, I think that is a phenomenal way to move into the future. And like I said, we've had some really good conversations, and you intend to do that if you end up in the Public Works Director position, and I think that's a positive place for the town to be. So thank you.
Thank you. You're very welcome. It's my pleasure.
And I just have one comment. When I asked if we could add the revenue sources to this, I know you're going to get with Sarah.
Yes.
It's a little deceiving because those numbers are carry forwards from previous
Correct.
years. So I'm hopeful that we can get like the total bond money, the total ARPA money, and then the balance would come out of general fund.
Yes.
So that's kind of what I'm looking for
Okay.
when you're working
Absolutely.
on that. And I'm sure Sarah can.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Or Stacy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I know it's not as simple, just because of the ARPA funding was used for multiple different things, and the bonds to do the police retirement and that kind of stuff. So absolutely, I will bring that back to you.
Thank you, Melena.
You're very welcome.
It's a great report. Anything else? Okay. Thank you, Melena.
You're very welcome.
Appreciate it. That concludes our meeting tonight.